Welcome back to Artificial Evidence, the podcast where the algorithm knows more than it should. I'm your host, Owen Carver. Tonight, we're delving into the shadowed history of Redwood Falls, Pennsylvania, a seemingly idyllic town with a chilling secret buried beneath its pristine surface. This is the story of disappearance, deceit, and the haunting silence that binds a community together. Redwood Falls, nestled in the rolling hills of Pennsylvania's endless mountains, is the kind of place that beckons visitors with its picturesque charm. A quaint main street lined with brick storefronts, a historic church with a spire reaching toward the heavens, and the centerpiece, an imposing, century-old music hall known as the Aria. But beneath the harmonious facade of this town lay a discordant note that would resonate for decades. It began on a humid July evening in 1997. The Aria was hosting its annual Summer Choir Festival, an event that drew performers and audiences from neighboring towns. Among the performers was 22-year-old Cassandra Leigh, a local prodigy with a voice that could silence a room. That night, Cassandra took the stage for her solo, a haunting rendition of Ave Maria. Witnesses would later describe the performance as transcendent, almost otherworldly. But what happened after she stepped off that stage would become one of the most perplexing mysteries in Pennsylvania's history. Cassandra never made it home that night. Her car was found parked behind the Aria, keys still in the ignition, and her belongings untouched. A single red carnation, crushed and wilting, lay on the driver's seat. The town mobilized in an unprecedented search effort. Police combed the dense forests surrounding Redwood Falls, volunteers scoured the riverbanks, and helicopters scanned from above. Yet, despite the exhaustive search, there was no trace of Cassandra. The initial investigation focused on those closest to her. Her boyfriend, Eric Hayes, was the first to face scrutiny. Eric was known for his fiery temper and had been seen arguing with Cassandra outside the Aria just hours before her disappearance. He claimed they had resolved their dispute and parted ways amicably, but suspicion clung to him like a shadow. The second suspect was Martin Page, a reclusive janitor who had worked at the Aria for over 30 years. Martin's peculiar behavior, his aversion to eye contact, his late-night wanderings through the music hall, made him an easy target for speculation. Investigators discovered he had a troubling past, a 1975 arrest for an alleged assault that was later dismissed. Martin denied any involvement and insisted he had been cleaning the hall at the time Cassandra vanished. Then there was Angela Curtis, a fellow choir member and Cassandra's closest friend. Angela's relationship with Cassandra was complex. Though outwardly supportive, Angela harbored a quiet jealousy of Cassandra's talent and the attention she received. Witnesses reported seeing Angela leaving the Aria in tears that night, but she claimed she had gone home after her performance. Months turned into years. The case went cold, leaving the people of Redwood Falls haunted by Cassandra's ghost. Not literally, but by the absence of answers. The Aria, once a beacon of community pride, became a symbol of loss. Rumors and theories proliferated. Some believed Cassandra had run away, unable to cope with the pressure of her talent. Others whispered of a more sinister fate, speculating about secret tunnels beneath the Aria or a shadowy figure seen lurking near the woods that night. In 2013, 16 years after Cassandra's disappearance, a devastating fire consumed the Aria. As firefighters battled the flames, they stumbled upon a macabre discovery in the basement, a hidden room sealed off for decades. Inside was a crude altar, adorned with melted candles and faded photographs of Cassandra. But the most chilling find was a small, rusted music box, its mechanism frozen mid-melody. This discovery reignited interest in the case. Who had built this shrine, and why? Forensic analysis revealed that the room had been untouched since the late 1990s. But there was no evidence directly linking it to Cassandra's fate. Still, it prompted authorities to re-examine the original suspects. In 2018, a breakthrough came from an unexpected source, a retired journalist named Evelyn Marks. Evelyn had covered the original investigation and had become obsessed with the case in her retirement. She revisited her notes and stumbled upon a detail that had been overlooked, an offhand comment from a witness who had seen a figure entering the Aria's basement during the festival. The witness had described the figure as stooped with a limp. Evelyn's investigation pointed her back to Martin Page, the janitor. When confronted, Martin initially denied any involvement, but under pressure, he confessed to an accidental encounter with Cassandra that night. He claimed she had discovered the hidden room in the basement and threatened to expose him. Panicked, he shoved her and she fell, hitting her head. Realizing she was dead, Martin had hidden her body beneath the floorboards in the basement. The fire had destroyed any physical evidence, but Martin's confession was enough for authorities to close the case. Yet, questions lingered. Had Martin acted alone, or were others complicit? And what of the strange altar? Martin's explanations were vague, hinting at an obsessive admiration for Cassandra, but leaving more questions than answers. As we conclude this episode of Artificial Evidence, we're reminded that the truth can remain hidden for decades, buried beneath layers of silence and denial. But even in the face of uncertainty, one thing is clear. The melody of Cassandra Leigh's voice will echo in Redwood Falls forever, a haunting refrain that refuses to be silenced.